Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about fractions and decimals, more specifically about comparing fractions and decimals by converting both to fractions. To get us started, we have 2/4 and 5/10. Now, we want to convert them both to fractions to make it easier to compare. You could also convert them both to decimals and it would be the same thing. But in this video, we're just going to convert them both to fractions. So 2/4 is already a fraction, so all we're going to do is rewrite that. And then 5/10, our last digit is in the tens place, so in order to write this as a fraction, we're going to take 5 and write it over 10. So now that we have both our numbers as fractions, we're going to compare, but the denominators are different, so we have to find the least common multiple between 4 and 10 in order to compare. So our multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so forth. And our multiples of 10 are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so forth. Our least common multiple is 20 because that's the smallest multiple they have in common. So we're going to find the equivalent fractions that have denominators of 20 in order to compare these fractions. Starting off with 2/4. In order to get a denominator of 20, we have to multiply 4 by 5. Whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator as well. 2 times 5 is equal to 10, and 4 times 5 is equal to 20. Then we're going to take our second fraction, which is 5/10, rewrite that, and in order to get a denominator of 20, we have to multiply 10 by 2. Whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator as well. So 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. 10 times 2 is equal to 20. So 5/10 is equal to 10/20. Now that we have two fractions that are out of 20, we could go ahead and compare. So we got 10 out of 20 and 10 out of 20. Both of those fractions are exactly the same, meaning that they are equivalent. So that means that 2/4 is equivalent to 5/10. Then we have 11/25 and 45/100. Now, 11/25 is already a fraction, so we're just going to rewrite it. And 45/100, the last digit is in the hundreds place, so we're going to write this as 45/100. Now that we have two fractions, in order to best compare them, we're going to make sure that the denominators are the same. So we're going to find equivalent fractions with a denominator that is the same. In order to find what denominator we could use, we have to find the least common multiple between 25 and 100. And our multiples of 25 are 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, and so forth. And our multiples of 100 are 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and so forth. So our least common multiple in this case is 100. And so we're going to make sure that both these fractions have a denominator of 100. First, we're going to take 11/25. In order to get a denominator of 100, we have to multiply 25 by 4. Whatever we do to the denominator, we need to do to the numerator. So 11 times 4 is 44. 25 times 4 is 100. And so 44/100 is equal to 11/25. Now, taking a look at 45/100, it already has a denominator of 100, so we don't have to do anything. So now we have two fractions with the same denominator, which are 44/100 and 45/100. Now, 44 over 100 is less than 45 over 100, meaning that 11 over 25 is less than 45 hundredths. So now here we have 1/3 and 3/10. Now 1/3 is already a fraction, so we're just going to rewrite 1/3. And now 3/10, our digit is in the tenths place, so we're going to write 3 over 10. Now we have two fractions with different denominators, so we have to find the least common multiple between 3 and 10. So our multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and so forth. Our multiples of 10 are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and so forth. So our least common multiple in this case is 30 because it's the smallest multiple they both have in common. So we're going to make sure that we get a denominator of 30 for both. Starting with 1/3, in order to get a denominator of 30, we have to multiply 3 by 10. Whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. So 1 times 10. 1 times 10 is equal to 10. 3 times 10 is equal to 30. Now we're going to take 3 over 10. And in order to get a denominator of 30, we have to multiply 10 times 3. Whatever we do to the denominator, we must do to the numerator. 3 times 3 is 9. 10 times 3 is 30. So now that we have two fractions with the same denominator, 10 over 30 and 9 over 30, we can compare. So 10 over 30 is greater than 9 over 30, meaning that 1/3 is greater than 3/10. So here we have our final example, 21 over 75 and 28 hundredths. Now 21 over 75 is already a fraction, so we're going to rewrite that. And 28 hundredths, our last digit is in the hundredths place value, so we're going to write this as 28 over 100. Now we have two fractions, but they don't have the same denominator, so we have to find the least common multiple between 75 and 100. So our multiples of 75 are 75, 150, 225, 300, 375, and so forth. Our multiples of 100 are 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and so forth. So least common multiple is 300. So we have to go ahead and multiply our denominator by a number that would give us 300. So 75 times 4 would give us 300. And whatever we do to the denominator, we must do to the numerator. So 21 times 4. 21 times 4 is 84. 75 times 4 is 300. And now we're going to work with 28 over 100. In order to get a denominator of 300, we have to multiply by 3. And whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator as well. So we're also going to multiply 28 by 3. 28 times 3 is 84. 100 times 3 is 300. And so now we have two fractions with the same denominator. 84 over 300 and 84 over 300. And those are exactly the same, so they are equal, which means that 21 over 75 is equal to 28 hundredths. And that's it.